The title hung in the air, a stark summary of a problem that was quietly disrupting the routine of Northwood Elementary. Little boy avoided the school bathroom. Then the nurse uncovered the disturbing reason. This wasn't just a headline. It was the beginning of Billy's story, a 6-year-old boy whose world, usually bright with the promise of learning and play, was slowly shrinking, confined by an invisible wall of anxiety. Billy, a first grader with a mop of sandy brown hair and eyes that usually sparkled with mischief, was, by all accounts, a happy child. He loved dinosaurs, drawing, and recess. He was generally well-adjusted, eager to please his teacher, Mrs. Davis, and quick to make friends. But something had shifted in the past few weeks. That a shadow had fallen over his sunny disposition. It started subtly. Mrs. Davis noticed Billy squirming in his seat more frequently, a slight furrow in his brow during lessons. He seemed distracted, his attention drifting from the colorful alphabet chart to some unseen point in the distance. First, she attributed it to typical first-grade restlessness. But then came the accidents, small, embarrassing incidents that left Billy red-faced and ashamed. These weren't the accidents of a newly potty-trained toddler. These were the accidents of a child desperately trying to hold on, to ignore the urgent call of nature for as long as humanly possible. But it became clear that Billy wasn't just restless. He was actively avoiding something. And that something, it turned out, was the school bathroom. The accidents, as mortifying as they were for Billy, were only the most visible sign of his growing distress. Mrs. Davis, a seasoned educator with a keen eye for spotting subtle changes in her students, began to meticulously document Billy's behavior. The pattern was undeniable. Billy would drink very little water throughout the day, a stark contrast to his usual enthusiastic gulps during water breaks. He would request to stay inside during recess, feigning tiredness or a sudden interest in reading, anything to avoid the dreaded trip to the bathroom. The length of time Billy was holding it became increasingly concerning. Hours would pass between bathroom visits, an almost superhuman feat for a child his age. His discomfort was palpable. He'd fidget in his seat, his small hands clenching and unclenching, his face flushed with the effort of suppressing his body's natural urges. It wasn't just physical discomfort. There was a growing anxiety etched on his face. He became withdrawn, less talkative, and hesitant to participate in class discussions. His playful banter with his friends dwindled. The joy that had once radiated from him seemed to dim with each passing day. He avoided the bathroom. The once vibrant, eager learner was slowly transforming into a worried, withdrawn little boy, haunted by an unseen fear. The evidence was mounting, painting a clear picture of a child in distress, silently battling a problem he couldn't articulate. Something had to be done. Mrs. Davis, driven by her concern, initiated a series of gentle interventions. She started by asking Billy simple, open-ended questions. Is everything all right, Billy? Is there anything you're worried about at school? She framed her inquiries with warmth and reassurance, hoping to create a safe space for him to confide in her. But Billy remained stubbornly silent, offering only shrugs or mumbled replies that revealed nothing. She tried encouragement. Remember how brave you were when you learned to ride your bike. You can be brave about this too. She praised him for every successful bathroom visit, no matter how infrequent. She even created a sticker chart, hoping the tangible reward would motivate him. But the stickers remained stubbornly untouched, a testament to the depth of Billy's fear. Other staff members, alerted to the situation, offered their support. The gym teacher, Mr. Johnson, a towering figure with a booming laugh, tried to lighten the mood. He jokingly suggested that Billy was training to be a superhero with an iron bladder. But even his jovial attempts fell flat. The school counselor, Mrs. Peterson, a kind woman with a soothing voice, attempted a more direct approach, employing techniques designed to elicit information from children. However, Billy clammed up, his eyes darting nervously around the room. Every attempt to unlock the reason behind his bathroom avoidance met with a wall of silence and resistance. It was as if he was protecting a secret that was slowly consuming him. The ineffectiveness of these initial attempts only heightened the sense of urgency. Billy's distress was no longer a subtle undercurrent. It was a rising tide threatening to engulf him. His academic performance began to suffer. He struggled to concentrate during lessons, his mind clearly preoccupied with his mounting anxiety. Simple tasks that he once breezed through now seemed insurmountable. His social interactions also took a hit. He isolated himself from his friends, avoiding playtime and lunchtime conversations. The once gregarious little boy retreated into his shell, becoming increasingly withdrawn and isolated. The vibrant, energetic student was fading away, replaced by a shadow of his former self. That Mrs. Davis, deeply concerned about Billy's well-being, knew that she had exhausted her resources. She recognized the need for a more comprehensive approach, one that involved Billy's parents and the school administration. She scheduled a conference with Mr. and Mrs. Thompson, Billy's parents, and Principal Thompson, no relation, to discuss the escalating situation. The meeting was somber, filled with worry and a shared determination to uncover the root cause of Billy's distress and find a solution before it further impacted his life. The stakes were high, and the clock was ticking. The atmosphere in Principal Thompson's office was heavy with concern. Mr. and Mrs. Thompson, normally cheerful and engaged parents, sat with worried expressions, listening intently as Mrs. Davis recounted the events of the past few weeks. They were genuinely perplexed. "We're so confused," Mrs. Thompson said, her voice laced with anxiety. "He's never had any problems using the bathroom at home. In fact, he's always been very regular and independent." Mr. Thompson nodded in agreement, adding, "We've asked him if anything is bothering him at school, but he just says everything is fine. That he's usually so open with us. This is completely out of character." Principal Thompson, a seasoned educator with years of experience dealing with childhood anxieties, listened patiently. "It's not uncommon for children to experience anxieties that they struggle to articulate," she reassured them. "The important thing is that we work together to understand what's happening with Billy and find a way to support him." After a lengthy discussion, the parents agreed to take Billy to see their pediatrician to rule out any potential physical causes for his bathroom avoidance. They promised to schedule an appointment immediately and to keep the school informed of the results. They also agreed to continue to observe Billy closely at home, looking for any clues that might shed light on his distress. The meeting adjourned with a sense of shared purpose, a commitment to unraveling the mystery behind Billy's sudden aversion and restoring his happiness. True to their word, Mr. and Mrs. Thompson took Billy to see Dr. Ramirez, their family pediatrician, a kind and patient doctor known for her gentle approach with children. Dr. Ramirez conducted a thorough examination, carefully checking for any signs of urinary tract infections, constipation, or other physical ailments that could be contributing to Billy's bathroom avoidance. She asked Billy direct questions about his experiences, but, just as at school, he remained tight-lipped, offering only vague and unhelpful responses. After the examination, Dr. Ramirez sat down with Mr. and Mrs. Thompson, her expression thoughtful. "Physically, Billy appears to be perfectly healthy," she reported. "There's no indication of any underlying medical condition that would explain his behavior." She paused, considering her words carefully. "Given that Billy only seems to be experiencing these issues at school, and that he's unable to articulate what's bothering him, I suspect there may be a psychological component at play." She suggested exploring potential anxieties or stressors that Billy might be experiencing at school. "Children often manifest their anxieties in physical ways," she explained. "It's possible that Billy is experiencing some kind of fear or discomfort that he's unable to express verbally." Dr. Ramirez recommended involving the school nurse, Nurse Emily, known for her exceptional ability to connect with children and her gentle, probing approach. She believed that Nurse Emily might be able to uncover the root cause of Billy's distress where others had failed. The next step in unraveling the mystery now rested with the school and its caring nurse. Nurse Emily was a fixture at Northwood Elementary, a comforting presence in her brightly lit office adorned with colorful posters about health and wellness. She wasn't just the person who handed out bandages and ice packs. She was a confidant, a listener, and a champion for the students' well-being. With her warm smile, gentle eyes, and calming voice, she possessed an uncanny ability to connect with children, earning their trust and making them feel safe. She had a knack for seeing beyond the surface, for recognizing the subtle signs of distress that others might miss. She understood that children often communicate their feelings through their behavior, and she was skilled at interpreting those nonverbal cues. Her office was a sanctuary, a place where children could come to share their worries, their fears, and their secrets. knowing that they would be met with empathy and understanding. When Principal Thompson approached her about Billy's situation, Nurse Emily listened attentively, her brow furrowed with concern. She had already noticed Billy's withdrawn demeanor and his frequent requests to visit her office with vague complaints of stomach aches. She knew that something was troubling him, and she was determined to uncover the truth. She saw every child as an individual with unique needs, and she approached each situation with patience and a genuine desire to help. Nurse Emily prepared to use all her skills to gain Billy's trust and discover the reason for his anxiety. Nurse Emily began her approach with careful observation. She watched Billy during recess, noticing how he lingered near the edges of the playground, avoiding boisterous games and interactions with his peers. She observed him in the classroom, noting his fidgeting, his distracted gaze, and his reluctance to participate in activities. She even subtly positioned herself near the bathroom during transitions, observing his body language as he approached the area, the tightening of his shoulders, the quickening of his pace, the almost imperceptible shake of his head. But observation alone wasn't enough. Nurse Emily knew that she needed to build a rapport with Billy, to create a safe and trusting relationship that would allow him to open up to her. She started by engaging him in casual conversations during his visits to her office. She asked him about his favorite subjects, his hobbies, and his family. She listened attentively, offering words of encouragement and support. She made a point of remembering the small details he shared: his love for dinosaurs, his fascination with drawing, his pet hamster named Nibbles. She used these details to personalize their conversations, showing him that she genuinely cared about him as an individual. She offered him small acts of kindness: a sticker for his drawing, a comforting word when he seemed down, a listening ear when he needed to vent. Slowly, painstakingly, she began to chip away at the wall of silence that Billy had erected around himself. The conversations started innocently enough. "I hear you're quite the artist, Billy. Mrs. Davis showed me your drawing of the T-Rex. It was fantastic. Do you have a favorite dinosaur?" Or, "Nibbles is such a cute name for a hamster. Does he like to run on his wheel?" These seemingly trivial exchanges were carefully crafted to create a sense of normalcy and comfort. Gradually, Nurse Emily began to steer the conversations toward school, subtly probing for any potential anxieties. "Are you enjoying first grade, Billy? What's your favorite part of the day?" she would ask, carefully observing his reactions. If he seemed uncomfortable or hesitant, she would quickly change the subject, not wanting to push him too hard. One afternoon, during a particularly quiet session, Nurse Emily noticed a flicker of unease in Billy's eyes when she mentioned lunchtime. "Lunchtime can be a little hectic, can't it?" she remarked casually. "All those kids in the cafeteria, it can get pretty noisy." Billy shifted in his seat, his hands fidgeting in his lap. "Yeah," he mumbled, his voice barely audible. Nurse Emily sensed an opening. "Sometimes things that seem a little overwhelming can be easier if we talk about them," she said gently. "Is there anything about school that's been making you feel worried or uncomfortable, Billy?" She waited patiently, her eyes fixed on his, offering him a safe space to share his fears. Billy hesitated, his lower lip trembling slightly. He avoided eye contact, focusing instead on the worn teddy bear sitting on Nurse Emily's desk. The silence stretched, thick with unspoken fears. Nurse Emily waited patiently, allowing him the space he needed to gather his thoughts. Finally, in a voice barely above a whisper, Billy said, It's the bathroom." Nurse Emily's heart skipped a beat. This was it, the breakthrough she had been hoping for. She resisted the urge to bombard him with questions, knowing that she needed to proceed with caution. "The bathroom?" she repeated softly, her voice filled with gentle curiosity. "What about the bathroom, Billy?" He remained silent for another moment, his eyes darting nervously around the room. Then, he blurted out, "The big boys." Nurse Emily leaned forward, her full attention focused on Billy. "The big boys?" she prompted, her voice calm and reassuring. "What about the big boys, Billy? Are they bothering you?" She chose her words carefully, using simple language that he could easily understand, avoiding any accusatory or judgmental tones. She wanted him to feel safe enough to share whatever was troubling him, no matter how big or small it might seem. She knew that this was a crucial moment, a turning point in Billy's journey to overcome his fear. Tears welled up in Billy's eyes as he began to recount his experiences in the bathroom. "They're always there," he said, his voice trembling. "During recess, the big boys." He described how a group of older boys, 4th and 5th graders, would congregate in the bathroom, their presence filling the small space with an intimidating energy. "They're so loud," he continued, his voice barely a whisper. "They yell and laugh and make scary noises." He spoke of the pushing and shoving, the way the older boys would jostle each other and sometimes even bump into the younger children, making them feel small and vulnerable. "Sometimes they block the stalls," he added, his eyes wide with fear. "And you can't get in, you have to wait," and they laugh. He confessed that he was terrified of them, of their size, their loudness, and their unpredictable behavior. He felt helpless and alone, unable to defend himself against their bullying. He hadn't told anyone because he was afraid of what the big boys might do if they found out that he felt trapped, his fear growing with each passing day, making it impossible for him to use the bathroom at school. The disturbing reason behind his bathroom avoidance was now finally revealed, a burden lifted from his small shoulders. Nurse Emily listened with unwavering attention, her heart aching for Billy. She carefully validated his feelings, assuring him that it was okay to be scared and that he was not alone. "It sounds like those big boys are being very unkind and making it difficult for you and other younger students to use the bathroom," she said, her voice firm but gentle. "That's not right, Billy. Everyone deserves to feel safe and comfortable at school, especially in the bathroom." She reassured him that what he was experiencing was bullying and that it was never acceptable. She explained that it was important to tell someone about it, and that he had done the right thing by confiding in her. She praised his bravery in sharing his secret, acknowledging how difficult it must have been for him. Nurse Emily assured Billy that she would take action to address the situation and make the bathroom a safe space for everyone. She promised to speak with the principal and other staff members to ensure that the bullying stopped immediately. She emphasized that he would no longer have to face this fear alone, that she and the school would support him every step of the way. She wanted to instill in him a sense of hope and empowerment, to let him know that his voice mattered and that things would get better. Armed with Billy's revelation, Nurse Emily immediately sought out Principal Thompson. She recounted her conversation with Billy, detailing the bullying behavior of the older boys in the bathroom and the profound impact it was having on him. She emphasized the urgency of the situation, stressing the need for immediate action to protect Billy and other vulnerable students. Principal Thompson listened intently, her face etched with concern. She expressed her gratitude to Nurse Emily for uncovering the truth and assured her that she would take the matter very seriously. She immediately called a meeting with Mrs. Davis, Mr. Johnson, Mrs. Peterson, and other relevant staff members to discuss the situation and formulate a plan of action. Together, they decided to increase supervision in the bathrooms during recess, assigning teachers and staff members to monitor the area and ensure the safety of all students. They also agreed to implement a school-wide anti-bullying campaign to raise awareness about the issue and promote a culture of respect and kindness. Principal Thompson vowed to identify the older boys involved and address their behavior through disciplinary measures and counseling. The atmosphere shifted from concern to decisive action. The school was ready to protect its students. The immediate response from the school was swift and decisive. The increased supervision in the bathrooms was immediately noticeable. Teachers and staff members took turns patrolling the area during recess, their presence serving as a deterrent to any further bullying behavior. The older boys, realizing that their actions were being monitored, quickly toned down their behavior. The school also implemented a new policy. No more than 3 students were allowed in the bathroom at any given time, limiting the opportunity for the older boys to intimidate younger children. A sign-up sheet was placed outside the bathroom, allowing students to take turns using the facilities in an orderly and supervised manner. Principal Thompson personally addressed the entire student body during a school-wide assembly, emphasizing the importance of respect, kindness, and inclusivity. She made it clear that bullying of any kind would not be tolerated at Northwood Elementary and that any student caught engaging in such behavior would face serious consequences. The message was clear. The school was committed to creating a safe and supportive learning environment for all students. Identifying the older boys involved was the next crucial step. With Billy's hesitant assistance and the increased supervision, the school quickly pinpointed the group of 4th and 5th graders who had been terrorizing the bathroom. Principal Thompson met with each of them individually, explaining the seriousness of their actions and the impact they had on younger students like Billy. The consequences varied depending on the severity of their involvement. Some received detention, others were suspended, and all were required to attend counseling sessions with Mrs. Peterson, the school counselor. These sessions focused on empathy, respect, and the importance of understanding the feelings of others. The boys were challenged to reflect on their behavior and take responsibility for their actions. The school also implemented a restorative justice approach, encouraging the older boys to apologize to the younger students they had bullied and to find ways to make amends for their actions. Some volunteered to help supervise younger students during recess, while others assisted with school cleanup projects. The goal was not just to punish the boys, but to help them learn from their mistakes and become positive role models for their peers. The focus was on rehabilitation and empathy. Nurse Emily continued to play a crucial role in Billy's recovery. She scheduled regular check-ins with him, providing him with a safe space to express any lingering fears or anxieties. She taught him coping strategies, such as deep breathing exercises and positive self-talk, to help him manage his anxiety in the moment. She also encouraged him to gradually reintroduce himself to the bathroom, starting with short visits during less crowded times. She even accompanied him on a few occasions, providing him with reassurance and support. She celebrated his small victories, praising his courage and resilience. In addition to her individual work with Billy, Nurse Emily organized a school-wide assembly on bullying prevention. She invited guest speakers, including former victims of bullying, to share their stories and offer advice to students. She also led interactive activities designed to promote empathy, respect, and bystander intervention. The assembly was a powerful reminder that everyone has a role to play in creating a safe and inclusive school environment. It reinforced the message that bullying is never acceptable and that students should always speak up if they witness or experience it. Nurse Emily worked tirelessly to make Billy feel secure. Slowly but surely, Billy began to heal. With the increased supervision in the bathrooms and the knowledge that the bullying had been addressed, his anxiety began to subside. He started to drink more water during the day, and he no longer avoided recess. He even began to rejoin his friends on the playground, his laughter once again filling the air. The accident stopped, and he started using the bathroom at school with increasing confidence. He still had moments of hesitation, but Nurse Emily was always there to offer him a reassuring smile or a few words of encouragement. He learned to use the coping strategy she had taught him, taking deep breaths and reminding himself that he was safe. One day, Billy walked into Nurse Emily's office with a big smile on his face. "I used the bathroom all by myself today, Nurse Emily," he exclaimed proudly. "And it wasn't scary at all." Nurse Emily beamed with pride. "That's wonderful, Billy," she said, giving him a high five. "I'm so proud of you." Billy's transformation was remarkable. He had gone from a withdrawn and anxious little boy to a confident and happy student, once again thriving in the school environment. The once dreaded bathroom had become just another room in the school, no longer a source of fear and anxiety. Billy continued to thrive at Northwood Elementary. His grades improved, his social interactions blossomed, and his infectious laughter once again echoed through the hallways. He even became a mentor to other younger students who were struggling with anxiety or bullying, sharing his experiences and offering words of encouragement. He had turned his negative experience into a positive force for change. The school, too, benefited from the experience. Principal Thompson made anti-bullying initiatives a permanent part of the school's curriculum, ensuring that students were educated about the issue and empowered to stand up for themselves and others. The increased supervision in the bathrooms remained in place, providing a safe and secure environment for all students. Nurse Emily was recognized for her exceptional compassion, dedication, and skill in uncovering the root cause of Billy's distress. She received accolades from the school administration, the parents, and the community. But for Nurse Emily, the greatest reward was seeing Billy's transformation and knowing that she had made a positive difference in his life. The disturbing reason behind Billy's avoidance had been uncovered, addressed, and ultimately transformed into a lesson of resilience and empathy for the entire school community. Billy's story, serves as a powerful reminder of the importance of listening to children, of paying attention to the subtle signs of distress that they may not be able to articulate. It highlights the crucial role that schools and families play in creating safe and supportive environments where children feel comfortable sharing their fears and anxieties. That it underscores the devastating impact that bullying can have on young lives and the need for proactive measures to prevent it. The story of Billy and Nurse Emily is a testament to the transformative power of compassion, empathy, and understanding. It demonstrates that even the most deeply rooted fears can be overcome with patience, support, and a genuine commitment to helping children thrive. Let us remember that every child has a voice, and it is our responsibility to listen. By creating a culture of open communication and mutual respect, we can empower children to speak up, to seek help, and to overcome the challenges they face. Only then can we ensure that every child has the opportunity to reach their full potential and live a happy, healthy, and fulfilling life. The willingness to hear, to understand, and to act is the key to unlocking a child's potential and shielding them from the shadows of fear. The end.